is already going on. The point is how to stop it. And I think that the agreement that was reached in Minsk some 10 days ago is the only option we have to see the conflict getting to an end in the east of Ukraine. And now all our efforts are in implementing and making sure that it is implementing, particularly on the separatist side.
But it will settle basically on President Putin's terms. He'll still have Crimea, he'll still have large parts of southeastern Ukraine under his control.
Now the point is making the conflict stop in the east of Ukraine, because people are still dying. And this is the priority.
That's the first step.
That's the first step. Not only the ceasefire, not only for the international community, not only for Europe, but for the government in Kiev. This is the priority number one. And we have to be careful and listen to their priorities first. Then the withdrawal of the weapons. This is going to be the second step, for which we will need to have monitors on the ground with much more access and more means. And then all the path that has been agreed. But we have to have the starting point with the ceasefire and with withdrawals of
But it's not
weapons.
credible, is it, to roll back Crimea, for example?
I hope it is. I hope it is, because, you know, the dangerous thing about this is not only the people dying on the ground, but also the fact that basic principles of international law have been violated. And this is dangerous not only for Europe or for Ukraine, it's dangerous also for the entire international community. So the annexation of Crimea is something the European Union will never recognize.
What about the possible entry of Ukraine or part of Ukraine into the European Union? Has that been dropped?
By the treaty, every country that is on European territory has the right or the possibility, sooner or later, to ask to become a member.
I mean, that's what the Maidan was about.
This has not been on the agenda in the last years. This is not on the agenda now. What we have with Ukraine is an association agreement, which means a strong partnership that allows the European Union to support Ukraine in its reforms, and this is what we're doing: economic reforms, social reforms, internal institutional reforms that are also key to implementing the Minsk agreement somehow. What we also need to do is to make Ukraine a success for the Ukrainians, because we don't have to forget that apart from the conflict that is going on in the east, the major concern, the major dream also of the Ukrainian people is to have a different country that is working better, without corruption, with a business environment, with full modern functioning state. And our European role is to make it possible.
How worried are you, though, that Russia is attempting to win friends in Greece and foment its minority communities in the Baltics? I mean, it doesn't appear that maybe a ceasefire, but it's not an end of hostilities from Novorossiya.
You know, our strength as Europe has been our unity, and I am more than confident that we are keeping that unity. You will have discussions within member states, among member states, outside of Europe. We will have a discussion about what kind of strategy we need to have and to develop towards Russia. But I am confident on the fact that when it comes to violation of sovereignty and territorial integrity of a country, Europe will stand united.
And if necessary, much tougher sanctions?
Sanctions are always there, ready to be adopted, to be lifted. And the basic principle has always been, from the very beginning, that we take the decisions only on the situation on the ground. The situation on the ground improves, sanctions can be lifted, partially lifted. The situation on the ground doesn't improve or get worse, they can be kept or added new measures. New measures are always ready. But the priority here is not only concentrating on our countermeasures if things go wrong, but how we can contribute to make things go better. And in this respect, what we have started to do since now many weeks is to work in Kiev, with our people in Kiev, together with the monitors, together with the OSCE, to make sure that the implementation is made possible on the ground.
Do you think Europe needs to do more to protect its borders, not necessarily from people coming in where there are problems, but from people getting out? I mean, we're having great problems in this country, France as well, of people going to join IS. Is there anything that can be done?
There's a lot that can be done on different levels. On the interior level, ministers of interior, minister of justice can do a lot when it comes to countering recruitment and radicalization. I think of the work we can do on internet. I think work we can do on the working with the imams and the mosques, on the work we do on integration of different communities, also on the control of the passengers on flights, for sure. But then there is also another work we can do with the partners we have around the region, because we need to intensify, and we're doing that, our cooperation on security and exchange of information.
Finally, you've had a lightning tour of London and Britain today. Do you understand why there seems to be such a movement in this country to leave the European Union?
You know, UK is a key member state for the European Union. I look at foreign policy. UK is one of the countries that has somehow been leading Europe in looking outwards and taking the responsibilities in the world. It would be almost impossible to imagine any kind of foreign policy of the European Union without UK. So my plea to the UK people is to stay. Staying does not mean forgetting about national interests and focusing on European interests. European interest is serving the national interests better. And there are a certain number of things we can only do together. Think of Ukraine, think of Russia. The impact we have on Russia through the sanctions is possible because we are together united. Single member states alone would have a much less relevant impact on all the crises we have around us. We have to be respectful of national interests. We have to find European ways of serving that interest in the best possible way. But we need to be together in order to face all the challenges we have. No member state, no country alone can solve any of the problems we have around.